diamond formation, as you see Reds 8 and 9 tuck in to form the famous Diamond 9 trademark Red Arrow shape. Red 1 is squadron leader Jim Turner, and it's his second year leading the team. He was a wingman with the Red Arrows from 2005 to 2007 and led the synchro pair. He's a former Jaguar weapons instructor and Jaguar display pilot. And more recently, he was working with the Royal Saudi Air Force's equivalent to the Red Arrows, where he was their official advisor. Smoke's on now, the wings are dropping back to form the shape of Eagle, which depicts the platform of the American fighter jets, the F-15 Eagle. We've introduced this to display as a commemoration to the support our American colleagues showed us during the Battle of Britain on the Eagle squadrons. And at the right hand side now, we fly the Eagle roll. Now boys and girls, as they come canopy on, the pilots can see you waving, so get your arms up, lots and lots of waving. We fly the majority of our formations with the odd-numbered pilots on the left-hand side and the even-numbered pilots on the right. Red 6 and 7, the synchro pair, tend to sit in line astern behind the leader. On the bottom of the formation now is Red 4, Flight Lieutenant Martin Pert. Martin's in his second year with the team and is the team's executive officer. He's a former Hawk flying instructor and solo Hawk display pilot. And operationally he flew the Harrier GR9 flying over Afghanistan. The smoke goes off now, the wings have dropped back even further to form the iconic shape of Concorde. And as they come left, some red, white and blue to show the very best of British. This is Concorde. This year is the 70th anniversary of Operation Chastise, the famous Dambusters raid carried out by 617 Squadron on the night of the 16th of May 1943. Those brave men of 617 Squadron flew their 19 Lancaster bombers deep into enemy territory to carry out the raid. 617 Squadron still operate today, flying the Tornado GR4 from RAF Lossiemouth. The smoke goes off now. In commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the Dambusters, this is Lancaster. One of our pilots has completed a tour with the famous Dambusters squadron. Red 3, Flight Lieutenant Mark Lawson, is on the leader's left wing now. Mark flew his first tour of the Royal Air Force on 617 Squadron, flying the Tornado GR4 over Iraq and Afghanistan before transferring to 9 Squadron, where he also flew again over Afghanistan, but also over Libya in support of Operation Ellerby. The smoke's back on now as the team form our tightest shape, which is Apollo. The jets here are about 5 to 6 feet apart as they fly the Apollo roll. On the leader's right wing now is another of our first year pilots. That's Red 2, Flight Lieutenant Ollie Parr. Ollie is another former Tornado GR4 pilot, and he has completed a tour as a Hawk flying instructor at Royal Air Force Valley. Smoke comes back on now as the team form the shape Typhoon, aimed to depict the delta wing platform of the Royal Air Force's multi-role combat aircraft, the Eurofighter Typhoon. We now have 4 frontline squadrons of Typhoons whose duty it is to protect the airspace of the UK and the Falkland Islands on quick reaction alert. In from the left now, they pull up for the Typhoon Loop. One of our pilots is a former Typhoon pilot. Red 9 is moving across to the far side of the formation now. And he is Flight Lieutenant Mike Child, who's in his second year with the team. He's a former Hawk flying instructor and solo Hawk display pilot who flew operationally on 3 squadrons flying the Typhoon. The jets have slowed down to about 150 miles an hour now, as they now accelerate to the bottom of this loop in a shape called Signet. In the middle of the left-hand wing as we look tail on is the last of our first-year pilots. That's Red 5, Flight Lieutenant Steve Morris. Steve is also a former Hawk flying instructor and was posted to the Harrier GR9, but unfortunately only spent a short time flying the jet before it was taken out of service. He transferred to the Tornado GR4, where he flew over Libya in 2011. The smoke's back on now as we form a big shape called Big Vixen, named after the 1960s naval fighter, the Sea Vixen. And in from the right-hand side, the Big Vixen roll. In that Big Vixen formation descend from around 2,500 feet and move back into 9 arrow formation as they set up to start the second half of the Red Arrows display. We're now going to split the formation into 2 sections. Reds 1 to 5 we call Enid after Enid Blyton's famous 5, and Reds 6 to 9 we call Jippo, named after the nickname of the first pilot to lead the 4-ship as the Red Arrows flew their first 9-ship display in 1968. Out to the front now, the team are forming Feathered Arrow, which is a bit of a mouthful to say on the radio, so we shortened it to Fred. And as they roll out directly to the front, get your cameras ready for a new manoeuvre for 2013 to start the second half of the display. Enid go right and Jippo go left in the 5-4 split. Watching Enid now, they're about to form a shape called Leaders Benefit, which, for the observant amongst you, is the wing of the Lancaster we flew over. So I'll talk a little bit more about 617 Squadron now. The squadron was formed in March 1943, only 2 months before the Dambusters raids took place, and they took off from our home base of RAF Scampton in Lincolnshire. 6 series squadrons were specialist squadrons during the Second World War, but nowadays those number plates are maintained for our reserve squadrons. The RAF Reserves are a very useful supplement to the regular RAF forces, and if you're interested in joining the RAF Reserves, please visit their stand here at the RAF Village or Google RAF Reserves. And now look directly to the front for the detonator. Smoking to our right-hand side is Red 6 and Synchro leader Flight Lieutenant Chris Lyndon Smith, who's in his 3rd and final year with the team. Chris is a former Tornado GR4 pilot and has also completed a tour as a Hawk flying instructor. He's chased down on the right by Red 9 and look left for Red 7 with the smoke, who's chased down by Red 8. These 4 jets descend now to just 100 feet, closing at over 800 miles an hour. Get your cameras ready for the amazing Jimbo Pass. Pilots stay with us with their smoke on now. They turn away from us at 6G, or 6 times the force of gravity, where everything in their bodies weighs 6 times more than normal. Pointing back towards us, they fly the Cyclone. Now as the synchro pair slingshot out to the front, look to your left for Enid. The wings drop down to form an inverted V shape. And now look right for a lone jet who is Red 9. Get your cameras ready as he flies in between Enid for the Goose. Hanging down from the back of Enid's jets there. Well, that's the air brake, and it's used to create drag to slow the aircraft down. The secondary effect of using the air brake is the need to maintain a higher power setting to maintain speed, and in turn that gives us a deeper smoke colour, as you can see in the red and blue as Enid climbs steeply to our right. Now look directly to the front as the synchro pair pull up in line astern at 5G. Smoke comes on as the jets reach a height of around 8,000 feet to draw Synchro's heart. But the Red Arrows would like to dedicate this heart to a girl who has her 12th birthday today. Becky Kerwin, this is for you, and we hope you have a very happy birthday. Top left of the heart is Red 8, the team's Cupid, who is drawing a spear. Red 8 is Flight Lieutenant Ben Plank. It's his 4th year with the team. He's another former Hawk flying instructor and Harrier GR9 pilot. Looking left and right again for the synchro pair, who descend back down to 100 feet to fly the double rolls. Degrees now, you can see Enid have been joined by Reds 8 and 9. Pulling up at 4G in Vixen formation. They twist this loop through 90 degrees in a manoeuvre known as a quarter clover. Now get your cameras ready for the good bit, ladies and gentlemen. This is the vertical brake. Left and right again for the synchro pair. This time Red 6 on our left and Red 7 on our right. Closing at over 800 miles an hour. They will cross 3 times in opposing 360 degree 6G turns in the carousel. for Enid. Back in leaders benefit formation, they fly towards us to leave a snake-like trail of smoke in the sky as they fly the Python. The Red Arrows have now flown nearly 4,500 public displays in 54 countries, and this year it's the Red Arrows' 49th display season. It's estimated that over 2 million people get to see a Red Arrows display every year, and last year for our flypast over the London Olympic opening ceremony, the global audience was in excess of 1.4 billion people. Out to the left now, Jippo and one of my favourite manoeuvres. Red 6 and 7 fly in it upside down in line astern formation, as Reds 8 and 9 roll around them in the corkscrew. Red 7 working very hard there to fly in close formation, only 8 feet from Red 6's jet, but doing it while upside down. Out to the left now, you see the 5 headlights of Enid. The inside pilots perform tight match rolls to the outside of the formation in the rollbacks. As Enid finish their dynamic rollbacks, look to the front for Jippo and the return of a crowd favourite manoeuvre, and get the cameras ready. Reds 8 and 9 roll around Reds 6 and 7, who complete their own rolls in their Jippo break. Smoking on the left is Red 7 and Synchro 2's Lieutenant James McMillan. Luke is in his second year with the team and grew up in New Zealand, where he joined the Royal New Zealand Air Force. After they disbanded their fast jet fleet, he transferred to the Royal Air Force in 2002 and became a Hawk flying instructor, and eventually transferred to fly operationally in the Harrier GR9. Watching now as the Synchro pair descend down for their final manoeuvre of the display, and the opposition barrel roll. Now move directly to the front of Enid and Red 8 and 9 for the display's finale. This is the Vixen break. We are the Royal Air Force Aerobatic team, the Red Arrows. So you see Reds 1 puts his smoke on to rejoin all 9 aircraft together, so they get ready to transit back to RAF Shawbury.